Hi, I'm back, and it's my goal to finish Andromeda 6 here on the channel. The game is now paid. Ever since last time we played it, it was just a demo, it was free, but it now costs about 15 bucks. I think it actually cost me 17 bucks with the tax and everything. So I bought it and I had to replay through the entire game. It took me about 8 hours or so, and there is an option to skip it, like to skip up to the part where you last left off. But first of all, that function didn't work for me, and second of all, I couldn't justify skipping because it's been so long since I played the game that I had forgotten pretty much the entire story. So I played through the entire game and I made sure to do all the choices, the same choices that I did on my initial demo playthrough. So that's what I did. I replayed through the entire game. I wrote down the entire story, like a summary of the story and the characters and everything here on my little notepad that I have. I'm very studious. It's giving intellectual, it's giving high class. That's what I did. Got caught up with the entire story. I know what's happening right now. I'm not confused. In the last episode, which was more than a year ago, I think, we basically found out that our sister Nerissa is not dead and Vex didn't kill her. She survived the attack on our family, on the Pegasi royal family. And she's now building an army on Telarin with the help of Rayona's father. She's building an army in order to basically defeat Zovak, and she wants to rule again, is what I'm assuming is gonna happen. So episode 6 ended in the ending of last episode, and now we're starting episode 7, and I am excited. I do want to finish this game because I feel like I already started it, so I need to finish it. I need to have closure. I need to find out what's happening in the story, and I know the game isn't entirely out yet. I think they're working on the last episode right now, but I'm assuming it's pretty close to finishing because they released the game in like the pretty much its final form. I'm ready to continue. So, the late morning sun climbs high in the sky as I gaze out of the enormous window of the bedroom I've been given to use while we're here on Telarin. And that is a very fancy, schmancy apartment that we're on. And everything here is clean and fresh, the bed, the floors, even the air itself. The room has clearly been designed with comfort in mind, with plenty of cushions and throw blankets, plush slippers, and lush plants throughout. I'm enjoying the space. We have a choice here to say, I'm enjoying the space, it's too big, or I feel connected to the planet. I'm gonna say I'm enjoying the space, even though we actually did choose in the beginning to be half Telari, like that's our species. So feeling connected to the planet does make sense as well, but I'm gonna say I'm enjoying the space. It's nice to have more than a few measly feet to move around in. This space makes my room on the ship seem like a little more than a broom closet. Our Telari hosts had urged us all to make ourselves at home, and I've certainly done so. Dropping down onto the circular sofa, I let myself breathe deep and relax. My room is situated high in the ISO spire, not far from the top, which I've been told hosts an incredible rooftop garden. Oh, I want to go there. From the window I can see across the vast expanse of the planet green fields and blue waters both dazzling beneath the sunlight. Glints of silver can be seen in the distance, other spires scattered across the surface, housing the majority of the planet's population. I wonder if I have other family out there somewhere, ones that were connected to my mother. Maybe they're in the next spire over. Maybe they're in the same one I'm in now. One day I'll find out, or I've never really wanted to know. It's part of the story, or early on it's said and it's implied heavily that we were not very close to the rest of our family, mainly because, first of all, it's a huge royal family, and it's not the most warm environment because everyone has their own political schemes. We were like the closest to our sister Nerissa, but we were never very close to our father or our mothers, because there are 3 queens, I believe. So I'm gonna say I've never really wanted to know. When it comes down to it, I suppose it doesn't matter either way. They clearly never wanted anything to do with me in the past, and I can't say that I have much interest in getting to know them now. A notification goes off on my holopad, and when I project the screen, I see a new message pop up from the group chat Ayame has created to keep the crew in touch while we're here. We have a group chat! We have the Andromeda Six group chat! Oh man! Okay, I wonder what kind of memes were being sent. Okay. Can you believe these rooms? They're ginormous, Ayame says. Damon says, too fancy-pantsy for my liking. If it's too much for you, Damon, I'm sure we can find a nice cardboard box for you to sleep in. Ah, sounds just like home, he says. And June chimes in with, I think the rooms are really nice, but does anyone know what the button on the side of the bed is for? Pleasure mode. Really? Stop teasing him, Bash. It turns on the lights on the base of the bed. Oh, I don't think mine is working. Thanks anyway, Kiki. And if you guys remember from the previous videos, I know it's been a while, but it is worth to note that we did go down the June romance route. I was very conflicted on who to choose because we already had the choice that solidifies who you can romance. You cannot choose a different person at this point. We chose the June route, even though I did have some reservations about this because he was at first, when he found that we were the princess, he was acting very coldly towards us. He did not like that at all, even though he did change his mind later on. And second of all, he was also, he had this like outburst when we were in the facility on Orion, I think, where he destroyed one of the laboratories where they did the human experiments. He basically murdered the test subjects there, and he did explain that they would want to be murdered because it's like very inhuman suffering and stuff like that, but he was very angry, he was very like violent, so that's not a good sign. But I couldn't really justify romancing anyone else. We didn't have any stronger bond with anyone else, apart from maybe Ayame, because she seems like very fun to be around. Ayame is like very nice. She does have her own tragic backstory, her brother dying when they were younger, like he got into like the wrong crowd and he ended up dying and passing away. But she never got like angry. She never showed any negative character traits, I wouldn't say. So I was wondering whether to do Ayame or June, but I chose June in the end. So with a small laugh, I put my holopad away and smiled to myself. It must be nice for the crew to be able to relax for the first time in a long while. Somewhere that they can feel safe. I know it's nice for me. Safe. At the thought of that word, my mind drifts to Nerissa. We're going to take back our home together. I can hardly believe it. We're gonna be queens, two queens. We're gonna slay. But then another thought hits me. Though I was born on Godis and grew up running through the corridors of the palace in Siltavi, it never really felt like home. We have a choice again. Maybe things would be different with Nerissa in charge. Or I feel more at home with the crew. Or the one thing I know for sure is that I need to talk to my sister. I'm wavering between the first two options because I do feel at home with the crew. We do enjoy being together with them. We have formed this rapport together that we enjoy each other's company. We work well together. But at the same time, right now our cover for the crew is being the navigator, but we have no idea how to navigate or what to do. We have no real actual skills, so maybe we should be better off in a political career like Nerissa, and like following in those footsteps. But I don't believe this choice is like a final one, so I'm just gonna say maybe things would be different with Nerissa in charge. But who knows, perhaps with Nerissa in charge things could be different. Maybe I wouldn't be ignored or shoved aside. I wouldn't be that lonely ghost who haunts the halls of the palace. I could prove myself to be useful, an invaluable asset to my sister. Yeah, exactly. We could do that. I could be important. An alert goes to the room and pulls me from my thoughts, and after pushing myself to my feet, I head over to check who's at the door. There's a panel on the inside of the room that shows who my guest is before I even open the door. With a smile, I hit the button to unlock it and greet him. Oh, this is Kyle. Kyle was Nerissa's bodyguard. He's a robot, but they were really close together, and he also survived the attack on the palace. And he's a good guy. He looks scary, but as far as we know at this point in time, we haven't heard anything bad or negative about him. So he's just this protector, this good figure in Nerissa's life. So good morning, princess. The bot stands in the doorway, unmovable, and if I didn't know him so well, I'd say more than a little intimidating. Come on, Kay, you know you can call me Kiki. Alright then. Good morning, Kiki. I smile at Kyle, glad to see him. We had the chance to briefly reunite yesterday after we finished speaking with Nerissa, and I was glad to find him unharmed after the ordeal at the palace. On top of that, he had saved my sister and brought her here. I couldn't be more grateful. Good morning to you. What brings you here? I'm here to take you to Nerissa. Why didn't she come here herself? She had a few things to wrap up. I offered, he says. I raise an eyebrow at him. It's no secret that there's been tension between my sister and me since we reunited. It has me wondering. Oh, the music dropped. The bass dropped right as I said that. It has me wondering if she sent Kay to fetch me to avoid doing it herself. Shaking the thought from my mind, I glance over the bionic plates on Kyle's body and remember something else. My last conversation with Bash had worried me, and I wonder if the bot in front of me might have any advice on the situation. So, the last conversation we had with Bash said he was looking forward to going on Telarin because he can basically replace all of his human parts with bionic parts, because he had felt insecure that he couldn't protect the crew back when Ren attacked us after we were going out of the facility. Ren, she's the leader of the Chimeri crew, she's Zobak's right hand. He couldn't protect Rayona or any of the rest of us, so he felt very insecure about this, Bash did, and he said to us he wants to replace all of his parts with basically he wants to become a super soldier and be like this mechanical robot who is gonna crush everything in his path in order to protect those people that he loves. So that made sense to me, but it's also we did react in a way that is scary, because you're gonna replace all of you. You're not gonna be you anymore. That whole ship of Theseus type of situation, you know. So actually, I'm glad you're here. I was hoping I could talk to you about one of my friends, if we have the time. Of course, Kyle says. Of course. I make my way for Kate to enter the room behind me, and two of us taking a seat in the circular sitting area across from each other. Well, I'll just get straight into it. His name is Bash. I start the discussion explaining my fears to Kate, who listens without interruption. It can be a little unnerving speaking to a being with no human reactions, gaining no sense of the thoughts and emotions that may be going through his head, but I manage it well enough. I suppose after knowing Kay since I was a child, I'm used to it. To sum it all up, I'm worried about him, really worried. Bash says he wants to replace parts of himself with bionics, but I can't help feeling like this decision is coming from the wrong place. Like he thinks he has no other choice but to reconstruct himself entirely, and he's afraid of what will happen if he doesn't. When I finish speaking, Kay says nothing for a long moment. Eventually, he sits forward and leans his elbows against his legs, looking at me through strange robotic eyes. You can't even see his eyes. On the inside, my software mimics the emotions of a human, but I'm reminded every day that I'll never truly be one of them. I can't feel the heat of the sun or the cool sting of the wind or the touch of another's hand. Sometimes I might pretend I do. Sometimes I even try to convince myself that it's true, but I know it's not. He goes quiet for a few moments while we sit, but somehow I know he hasn't finished speaking. I stay silent, my stomach dropping at the admission. To be perfectly honest, I had no idea that Kay felt this way, and I'm feeling a little guilty that I never picked up on it before. Kyle says, if I had the chance to feel all of that, I would give anything for it. Your friend doesn't know what he's given up. I let out a breath of relief even as my heart breaks for the bot. Kyle has always been a reasonable source of advice, and to know that he feels the same way I do about this matter lifts a weight off of me. Do you think that maybe you could talk to him, or we could do it together? I think it would do him good to hear your point of view. I'd be happy to, Kyle says. Okay, I think that's sort of... Maybe we won't hear the conversation, but I feel like that solidifies it, that Bash is gonna reconsider. So leaving my room with Kay, I find myself feeling a little better about the situation with Bash. I'm still worried that he's going to do something drastic. In fact, he already could have. Oh, maybe not. But having an outside perspective from someone who intimately knows the other side of the coin could be just what Bash needs. Forgive me if I'm crossing the line, but is there no way to give you the sensations that you're missing? A technology that could do it? Kyle shifts his head towards me slightly. VTBs aren't built for such things. We were built for war. To our creators, it was better not to feel anything at all. Technology might be created, but I'd have nowhere for it to go. The inventor who set me free might have found a way. In fact, I'm sure he would have. He pauses for a long moment, his stride sure and unwavering. But he's long gone now. I'm sorry, Kay. Don't be. I can't complain about the life I have or the people in it. I follow his line of sight to the gazebo in the distance, spotting the dark hair of my sister. Oh, I dyed my hair. My mom dyed my hair, and I have dark hair now, too. Dark hair of my sister as she looks out across the water, her back turned to us. With Nerissa in sight, I stop suddenly, hesitant to go any further. Kay takes a few steps before he realizes I'm no longer beside him. He turns back to me, patiently, waiting for me to make a move. You knew the whole time about what she was planning? Yes, I helped her plan it. And you didn't think to tell me? I encouraged Nerissa to involve you, but she wouldn't have it. Understand, Kiki, that it wasn't because she didn't trust you. It was because she was afraid of what would happen if you knew. And maybe more afraid of what you would think of her. That's no excuse to have another choice here. That's no excuse. Or I could have helped her, or it's too late now. I'm gonna say I could have helped her because we did show some disdain for the political leanings of our father. At least we mentioned it in passing. It wasn't like a surefire thing, but we did mention something like that. We implied it. Or it was implied in the story. So I'm gonna say I could have helped her. Should have known that I would have her back, that I could have helped her. I would have done whatever she asked of me. I know that, and I know she does too. He looks towards the gazebo, his voice quieter when he speaks again. I think that's what terrified her, that you'd get hurt in the process. What Kay is saying makes sense in a way, but somehow I'm not sure I can find it in myself to forgive the deception so easily. I can tell the bot senses it by the way he places a heavy metallic hand on my shoulder, as though he would comfort me if he could. I know she doesn't show it, but Nerissa is easily overwhelmed by her emotions. Her love for you blinds her. It makes her want to protect you even when you don't need it. I think she saw in you the faces of all of Celiota, projecting her thoughts and fears for them onto you. I glanced at the figure of my sister in the distance, pacing beneath the vine-covered gazebo that looks out across an artificial lake. That's not good enough. Kay looks at me again, and I get the impression that he's smiling despite the plates on his face never shifting. Talk to her. Tell her how you feel, he says. It will make you feel better in the end. He leaves me with that, walking away while I glance towards the gazebo again, readying... How many times are we gonna say gazebo? I'm sorry. That just took me out of it for a second. It's such a funny little word. Readying myself for the conversation I'm about to have with the one family I have left. Sucking in a breath, I head over and step into the shade, watching as Nerissa turns at the sound of me approaching. She smiles at me softly, but when I don't return the gesture, it slowly fades. You're upset with me, I can tell. I sigh out loud. She's always had a way of knowing what I'm feeling, and there's no use hiding that from her now. I just don't understand why you didn't tell me what was going on. I wanted to, believe me, she says. There were many times when I almost let it slip, but I couldn't. I couldn't let you get involved knowing how much danger it would put you in. We have another choice here. I could have handled it. I know you wanted to keep me safe, or is that the only reason? Oh, that's a good one. That's a very provocative question. I'm gonna say, is that the only reason? I stare at her firmly, attempting to pick out any hint of emotion in her face. I don't understand what you're asking, she says. Did you want to keep me safe, or were you more worried about what I would think of you? How I would react to the news of you overthrowing our father? Of course I worried what you'd think of me. I worried what everyone would think of me, but I was running out of options. I nod, even though her anger unnerves me. At least she's being honest this time. It takes only a second before she sighs softly and shakes her head. Our father needed to be removed from the throne, and I was willing to do it peacefully. With the help of Tajin and the Telari, we would have succeeded. I look up at the sound of my mother's name. It's the second time Nerissa has mentioned having her help with the Telari, which I suppose is what led us here. I would never have incited the bloodbath that Jez Zovak caused. When I think of our family fighting for their lives, fighting for each other, our father was a poor excuse for a king, but She stops and closes her eyes, stealing something inside herself before it shatters like a glass. You loved him. Yes, in my own way. I tried to protect him in the end, but it wasn't enough. Her eyes go dark, her mind drifting somewhere far from here. I reach out and place a hand on her arm, and she returns to me with a regretful smile. I'm sorry, sometimes I get stuck in my memories of that night. I understand, it must have been awful. I'm sorry I left without saying anything. I'm not. If you hadn't left, I doubt the both of us would be here together today. I can't tell you how thankful I am for that. Taking one of my hands, she squeezes my fingers tight. I have to admit that I'm glad she's here despite everything. I can tell that she regrets how things have played out, that she didn't involve me in her plans. I can only hope that things will be different going forward. Suddenly, I remember the gift you had given me not long before we had been separated. I reach into my pocket for the small trinket, and this is the little music box that we have from her. It said NLP, Nerissa something Pegasi, and we were ready to sell it actually when we needed to buy the cloaking device for the Andromeda Six ship. We gave it to Damon and we were like, can you please sell this for me? I wanna pull my own weight on the ship. I wanna contribute somehow. And he took it and then he repaired it and returned it to us. So that was like a very nice gesture from Damon that we had. Very rare Damon W. And oh, my music box. I hand the box over and she opens the lid with a smile. A soft tune spills out of it, the holographic ballerina dancing in the middle of the small sphere. It got broken the night I left the palace, but Damon had it fixed for me. Yes, here we go. That was a kind gesture. She holds the music box up to her face, studying its intricacies closely. I've never shown you, but the music box has a secret. Look. Nerissa turns the sphere over, pressing two buttons on the side that pop open like a hidden compartment on the bottom. She pulls out a ring, holding it in her palm for me to inspect it. It's a golden signet ring, engraved with the Pegasi crest. She holds it out to me with an expectant look on her face. Here, try it on. We can take the ring, or no, you should keep it. Yeah, I'm gonna take the ring, of course. I mean, she's given it to us, of course. I take the ring from her and test it on a couple of different fingers until I find one that fits. A perfect fit. Now everyone will know who you are and where you came from. That we're family. Thank you. I hold up my hand to admire the ring on my finger. I didn't feel like a Pegasi back on Godis, but I certainly feel like one now. You've changed so much, little one. It's nice to see, but also a little surprising. It seems like the crew you've fallen in with have had an effect on you. I smile at the thought of them, the friendships I've made, the people I've grown close to. Each of the crew has made an impact on me in one way or another. That's true, actually. They have very good characterization, and like the story arcs and the character arcs are very well made, I think. They have. Being with them has given me the chance to explore who I am, away from the confines of royal life. I'm not sure I would have even figured out who I truly am back on Goddess. There was a nod. I get the impression that she wants to say more, but she holds herself back. For whatever reason, I can't quite tell. I look forward to getting to know them better, and this new you too. She sighs as her gaze breaks away, looking out over the lake. I've been thinking a lot about the past, Kiki, how I don't want to make the same mistakes again. I say nothing, but I feel the weight of her words. Even though Vex had no choice in the deception of us, I trusted him too much. Perhaps I should be more careful in the future. Later we'll be meeting to discuss what to do next. We're ready to make a move against Zovak, we only have to decide how to do it. I want you to be there, I want you to have a say. What about the crew? Yes, them too. With the crew involved, we'll have representatives from every planet. The decision belongs to all of us. She stops for a moment, looking me over with a quiet smile as she reaches out to take my hand. Kiki? When I take back the throne, you'll be my heir. Things will be different, I promise you that. We can nod, we have another choice. So, a lot of choices so far in this chapter. We're only like half an hour in maybe, and we have so many choices. So we have the first choice, I'll look forward to that, so accepting the position as heir. We have, what if I don't want that? Or we can just nod. I'm gonna say I'll look forward to that because I still think even though we do have like a lot of fun with the Andromeda 6, we can go on adventures, but we don't really have any, like each of the Andromeda 6 crew, like the 6 of them, everyone has like a specific skill. We don't really have that. Like a specific designated specialty. So I think I look forward to that. Like being in the politics in the royal family is like, it will be good for us. I squeeze her hand tight and return her smile. That sounds amazing. I can hardly believe that the two of us are still here together. And we'll always be together, Kiki. Under the new Pegasi rule, the system will flourish. We won't make the same mistakes as our father. The people will come first, and you'll help me to make sure of that. Okay. My heart warms at her words, knowing that finally our world would have a ruler who cares about the people in it, who cares about me. I look forward to the day where I can be a part of that all. My happiness, however, is fleeting as another thought comes to mind. Have you spoken to Vex? She hesitates before she answers, as though she's not sure she wants to talk about it at all. No, not yet. He's been taken to the hospital. They're trying to reverse whatever the doctor of Zovax has done to him. Because, like, if you guys don't remember Vex, he was our royal guard, our personal royal guard back in the palace. But he eventually he learned of the attack that Zovac was planning on our family. And he tried to lie to Zovac and tell him like that there's no need for an attack, like blah blah blah. But Zovac figured out he was lying, and he took one of his doctors and brainwashed Vex into going against us, like the family. And he basically got like all of his memories, everything was like changed, and that was really horrible. But the procedure wasn't complete. They didn't like go the entire way. That's why he was still having memories of his past that were like emerging. And we finally found out that Rayona said that it's possible that it could be reversed. So I think maybe they were gonna successfully reverse his brainwashing. I don't know. So we'll see. Do you think they'll be able to help him? I'd be surprised if they couldn't. She smiles a little, and I can tell she's trying to be encouraging despite her personal feelings on the matter. Do you think you'll ever truly forgive him? Nerissa purses her lips in thought, her violet eyes narrowing at memories of the past. Maybe, I don't know. I suppose I'll have to find a way. He truly believed that he had killed you. It was tearing him apart. She swallows hard, she swallows thickly, as she looks away, and I can see she's torn. Her trust wasn't only broken, but ripped to shreds and thrown back in her face. I know well enough that it's not such an easy thing to forgive. I'd better head off before it gets late, but I'll see you at the meeting later. I can tell that she's excusing herself before having to discuss the situation any longer, and I suppose I can't blame her. Just because I was able to forgive Vex doesn't mean I should expect her to do the same. Kiki? Now that you're here, we have everything we need to set our plans in motion. Everything will be alright, you'll see. Okay, that's good. I still don't know exactly how she's planning on doing this attack against Zobak, because he is a very, very powerful ruler now in his own right. But she smiles at me as we say goodbye, though after Nerissa leaves, I linger beneath the gazebo a little longer. We have everything we need to set our plans in motion. I have to admit it feels good to be included, and I'm looking forward to what this meeting might bring. Okay. We're back here at the... So it was like an old aircraft hangar that was repurposed for this situation where like all the soldiers are. And later that day, I head towards the hangar that serves as a rebel camp and the meeting that awaits us all. Upon entering, I find that I'm the last to arrive, and I admit that I may have been distracted by the plant's natural growth that sprawls through the spire on my way down there. The ISO spire and the planet itself is beautiful. I'm looking forward to having more time to explore the place, but for now, that will have to wait. The crew are already here, along with Eldred, who is Ryona's father, Nerissa, and Kay. The hangar itself is quieter than usual, though I notice a few people flitting around in the background, making themselves scarce. Oppo towers over the group from the back, where they stand with Alyssa and Zane. And Alyssa is Damon's old friend. She's the head of the Crimson Dusk. I'm gonna have to hold on. Crimson. She is Crimson Dusk, and Zane is the leader of the Azure Dawn, and they are two different gangs who are rival gangs, but they have formed a truce together against the Chimeri, and the Chimeri are Zobak's people. You get the gist, okay? And I noticed one other person that I've never seen before. All eyes are on me as I take spot with Nerissa. She gives me a small smile, and I get the feeling she's glad I chose to stand by her side. Welcome, Eldred says. Sorry, am I late? Not at all, you're right on time. Eldred smiles at me kindly before he turns to address the group. I expect you all to know why we've called this meeting. Why am I doing a voice? This Zobak sits on the throne of Goddess, posing as the savior of our system, he says. Though the reality is much darker. With a small wave of his hand, Eldred steps back and Nerissa takes the floor. Okay? Zobak uses fear and manipulation to control his followers, and his reach is spreading. Every day people are fighting for their freedom, losing and dying to his Chimeri soldiers. With Eldred's help, Kay and I have brought people here who are willing to help us make a final stand against Zobak and the Chimeri. Oh, this is Kadar. We've never... of course, I did nothing, they say. I don't know who they are or what's going on. So, Kadar. Oh, alright, I suppose you helped a little. Nerissa smiles at the stranger I noticed earlier. The two of them seem familiar with each other. For those who don't know, this is Kadar Sudras. They've been leader among the Kitalfans for some time now. They don't have guilds though. Where are their guilds? And with his help, we've brought many of them here. Okay. I look over Kadar curiously, noting the bow slung over their shoulder and the quiver of arrows on his back. Even on Telarin, a place that has seen nothing but peace, he seems ready for a fight. My people are looking to find a new home and begin a new life. Oh, that's right, because Kitalfan, the planet Kitalfa, I think it's called, it got destroyed. So they'll do what they have to do to stop Zobak and make this dream a reality. I glance at Aya, wondering what she makes of this, and I see the way she lights up at Kadar's words. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that someone has a crush. Okay, that's good. Alyssa says, well, that's all so inspiring. Weren't you forgetting something, Majesty? Alyssa steps forward, her face a mask of indifference. What good does it do to us to help you rip Zobak from the throne if it means we go back to suffering under the rule of yet another incapable Pegasi? I know the subtle clench of Nerissa's jaw, but she brushes off the insult before addressing Alyssa's claim. It wouldn't be like before, I give you my word. My goal is to correct the wrongs of my father, to find a way for the system to live in peace. Pretty words from a pretty mouth. Sounds like we're getting the short end of the stick in the situation, don't you think, Lisa? For once, I think you're right. Hey! Alyssa ignores Zane's protest and I watch with a growing dread as she squares up against my sister. I'll tell you what, Melissa, is it? Nerissa. Whatever. Zane and I will help you with a little rebellion if you agree to sever Cursa from the crown once we're giving Zobak the boot. We want our independence, and one way or another, we're gonna get it. No, absolutely not. Nerissa's expression turns as hard as thunder, her resolve unwavering. If left to its own devices, Cursa will rip itself to shreds and no doubt take the rest of the system down with it. Says you. I said no. The group around me are as silent as stone, collectively holding their breath as we watch the two women stare each other down. Alright, Miss Double Standards, how about telling the group where it cost you to recruit the help of Tillaren when you were dying and desperate? Independence, isn't that right, Eldred? Eldred remains silent, his expression giving away nothing. That's different. Tillaren will enter into a trusted partnership with the crown. How can I expect Cursa to do the same? Elisa laughs, but there's no missing the fact that she's mocking my sister. If that's the case, perhaps we'll take our clans elsewhere. Perhaps you should. That's a lot of soldiers who'll be missing out on love. Maybe have a think about reconsidering our generous offer. Why do I imagine Zane with like a Australian accent? I don't know. That's just the way he talks is like maybe he's Australian. Nerissa looks to be on the verge of having Kay rip both the Curson's heads off, and the other two hardly seem any happier. I feel as though I should say something before the situation gets any worse. I would hate for things to turn violent. Oh, this is a big one. Agree with Nerissa or agree with Alyssa? So, I think, I don't know enough, we don't have enough information about how Cursa is doing apart from it being like this horrible planet. But, I mean, whether they even can be self-sufficient in terms of like, maybe agriculture or political stuff like that. But I'm gonna agree with Nerissa. You know what? I'm gonna agree with Nerissa. Yeah. I take a step forward, feeling emboldened by the stares that follow me. They're going to listen to what I have to say. I agree with my sister. I've seen Cursa, and it's in disarray. Alyssa, you yourself said that after Zovak had been taken down, you'd go back to your petty squabbles. You'd leave the people of Cursa to suffer. Wow, you've got me all figured out, haven't you? And here I thought you were halfway decent, but you're just another power-hungry Pegasi. She scowls at me and I can tell plain as day that I've hit a nerve. Hoping to take the throne for yourself after the queen here gets herself killed? No. Lisa? Damon puts himself between us, his face like flint as he gives his old friend a warning stare. Don't tell me you're on their side. After everything we went through growing up on Cursa, you know the planet should be free to govern itself. I agree with you. Cursa is my home too, but let's keep things civil, yeah? Alyssa has a small, bitter laugh. It's clear that the last thing she wants to do right now is play nice. Who are you and what have you done with the real Reznor? I was asked to this meeting to give my opinion, and whether you like it or not, this is it. Okay. We are thankful for it, Kiki, but we seem to be getting nowhere, Eldred says. I trust the parties involved can come to some sort of arrangement, in private perhaps. Eldred gives us all a severe look, the leader in him taking charge of the situation. I would remind you, Nerissa, that we need all the help we can get. Okay, maybe then we should let Cursa deal with itself and just like go its own way, because I don't know, maybe this is their ultimatum, Alyssa and Zane, and we do need their help. Like Eldred is right, they are bringing a lot of firepower, military power to our cause. So I don't know. Alyssa and Zane not in agreement, with Nerissa reluctantly following suit. And Kadar says, right, let's get into the real plans, shall we? We've got nothing to fight about if we can't even get past the usurper first. Kadar takes center stage while the others retreat to quietly simmer in the background. Our army is big, but Zovax is bigger. The best way to approach this will be with smaller tactical attacks. Take out the key players, one by one, and then when their armor is cracking, cut off the head of the snake. If our army is smaller than Zovak's, then what about recruiting from the rest of the system? There are others who might want to help us. Bash speaks up for the first time, and I'm able to get a good look at him, noting that nothing has changed since the last time we spoke. We can't trust Zovak finding out our plans. There are spies all over, people who might report back to him. Zovak already knows we're here, Nerissa says. He knows we're planning to move against him. Like Eldred said, the more support we have, the better. Okay. Kadar thinks it over for a moment, and even I have to admit that Bash's suggestion makes sense. It could serve as a diversion. He'll be focused on the bulk of our army rather than our tactical units. You're right, I can see that working. Okay, that's good. Oppo has contacts all across Terranium. They can get in touch with them to put the word out. You want Oppo to help? That's why you're here, isn't it? Oppo gulps, and while I'm quite fond of the Archnos, I find it hard to believe that fighting in a rebel army is their idea of a good time. Like they look worried. Oppo looks worried. Technically, Oppo is here because Miss Alyssa forced them on a ship and brought them here. I'll help you out, Oppo. How about we get some of that old gang back together, huh? Oppo still seems reluctant, but they nod at the offer to help nonetheless. Calderon, Ayame, do you think you could sway any members of the Guard to our side? I'm not sure. The Guard was one of the first institutions to be corrupted by Zovak. Many of the soldiers have been replaced with his spies. We can at least try, Cal, Ayame says. We had friends in the Guard, even if not all of them were real. They might be willing to help. In fact, I can name a few who would jump at the chance. I suppose it's worth a shot, Calderon says. Though Calderon seems less than optimistic, Aya looks pleased to have been assigned the task. I have to admit that I am too. It will keep her busy, and with any luck, it might also help to boost her confidence. Okay. Kadar has the loyalty of many Kitalfans. We'll have the majority of them on our side. I would hope so, but don't forget that Zovak himself is part Kitalfan. He'll try to use that to his advantage. Wait, Zovak is Kitalfan? Only partly, Kadar says, but it might be enough to sway a few Kitalfans to his side. He hasn't managed to use his Tillari roots to his advantage, so let's hope for our sakes that his Kitalfans are able to see right through him. I throw a look at Nerissa. Tillari roots? Before I can ask her anything, the conversation continues. We need to act quickly. Once we have our people together, we'll have to decide on the next step. Kyle says, next to Zovak himself, Ren is the most important target. They have the loyalty of his soldiers. With Ren out of the way, their allegiance will falter. How can you be so sure? It's true, I've seen it myself, Vex chimes in. Vex speaks up, and I have to admit that I'm surprised to see him here. Last I heard, he was being taken care of by the Tillari at the hospital. Vex adds that Zovak soldiers are loyal, but they'll be reluctant to take orders from anyone but Ren. Vex worked with Ren personally. He'll be a valuable source of information if you're planning to take them out. Damon also knows the inner workings of the Chimeri, don't you, Reznor? Not enough to be of any help. And he looks annoyed. Any information helps. Vex and Damon, was it? If you'll share what you know, I'm sure we can put it to good use, Kadar asks. The two men nod before melting back into the group again. After Ren, we go for the Doctor. He controls the Orionite soldiers. Without him, they'll be in disarray, easier to pick off. I wouldn't be so sure about that, June says. June speaks hesitantly but loud enough for us all to hear. What do you know about them? My parents created them. They created me. Kadar pauses, his expression softening as the realization comes over him. Would you help us put together a plan to take them out? I'll do what I can do to help, provided Rayona assists me. She has studied my condition intimately. Intimately. Okay. Her help will be invaluable. Kadar nods, and I glance around for Rayona, finding her once again hidden in the back. It's clear by her expression that this is the last place she wants to be. I suppose I can't blame her for that. I make a note to check in with her after the meeting. Okay, we're gonna do that definitely. When it comes down to it, my crew can take care of Ren. Just tell us where to find them. It won't be easy. Ren is surrounded by soldiers at all times. You have to go through more than a few Chimeri to get to them. Cal looks around the group, his gaze picking out his crew. Every last one of us nod in confirmation to his silent request. We are up to the task. We'll get it done, Calderon says. Kadar gives him a nod, having understood what just transpired between us all. Last we heard, they returned to Godis after your attack on Orion. I expect they'll stay there until Zovak sends them out again. Goldis it is then. It's been a long time. Aya puts a hand on Calderon's arms in comfort, and I know that they'll both understand what it means to return to Godis. As for myself, I haven't been back there since the attack on the palace. We have another choice, either to say I'm looking forward to returning, or I shall share Calderon's hesitance, or I'll do what I have to do. I'll do what I have to do. Ren needs to be taken care of for the sake of all the system. If this is the task that is set for us, I'll do what I have to do. Afterwards, I can decide whether my place is still on Godis or somewhere else entirely. Nerissa, you need to be the one to confront Zovak. The people need to see you. She can come with me, we'll do it together. No, I'm going with the crew. Nerissa falters at my declaration. I can see in her face that she wasn't expecting me to refuse. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. It's weird. We're not getting a choice for this. That's strange. I glance at the crew of the Andromeda Six, the people who have become my closest friends, and I know without a shadow of a doubt that this mission is the one we must do together. What would they do without their navigator? June gives me a small smile, and I can see on his face that he is relieved that I've made the choice to stick with them. I try to ignore Nerissa's pout. The decision is my own, and whether she likes it or not, she'll have to accept that. Eldred and Tilari will continue to provide shelter and aid to those who need it. We'll need a few days to get everything in order. I suggest between planning you all get some rest. And prepare yourselves. None of this will be easy, but we must win. Whatever the cost. Oh yeah. The crew is quiet as we leave the meeting, and as each of them goes their own separate way, I hang around in the hangar a little longer. Dr. Rayona? While I'm eager to speak to the crew, it was a lot of information we just took in, and I can't blame them for needing some time to process it. Heading up to the elevators, I take the moment to lean against the railing of the platform and look out over the tents, the soldiers, the equipment. This cause means as much to these rebel soldiers as any of us. This is the chance for them to take down a king who rules through terror and live a life of safety and peace. I want to help them do that. In fact, I would say I need to. Oppo has never seen so many different people come together before. I turn at the sound of the Archnos approaching, smiling as they join me against the railing. And now the androgynous crew is here too. Oppo is happy. Yeah? Even though Alyssa forced you to come here? Oppo smiles sheepishly, their forked tongues slipping between their teeth and hissing softly. The truth is, Oppo could never have stayed behind and let their friends fight alone. Stronger together, that's what Oppo thinks anyway. You're right, Oppo, we are stronger together. I'm glad you're here. I think back to the argument between Nerissa and the Cursons, how the tension had come to a breaking point. It's clear that while not everyone is going to get along, we need each other if we're going to get through this. How are things with the Ark? I overheard you worrying about it during Alyssa's call with Calderon and Aya. Oppo's face drops, their shoulders drooping as they turn their head away. It's clear that they're homesick. Oppo's friend is taking care of things. A very nice Archnos Oppo has known since they were young. But Oppo misses their home. I hope we can get this all over with so you can go home quickly. Maybe I'll come and visit you? Oppo would like that very much, and Oppo will also visit Miss Kiki at her home. Oh? Where will that be? Oh, we can now choose. I guess I don't know if this is like a final choice, because sometimes those choices that are final choices, apart from the choices themselves, they also have like a little note down here in the bottom of the screen that says like, oh, this is a final choice, right? For example, with the dating choice, we chose one and only romantic interest. And then before that, with the killing or stunning choice, whether we would kill people, or if you choose the stun option, then you will not have any lethal encounters. That option had, or that choice had, the text in the bottom. But for now, we can either say go this, or with Nerissa, or with the A6 crew, or I don't know yet. And I'm gonna say I don't know because I'm not ready to make that choice yet. I want to find out like a little bit more about what we could do with Andromeda 6 and what we could do with Nerissa back on Godis as the heir to the throne. So I don't know yet, but I'm looking forward to finding out. I've never had anywhere truly feel like home to me, but I'm excited at the prospect of making one of my own. Wherever Kiki makes their home, Oppo will be happy to visit. Thank you, Oppo. I'm looking forward to it. The Archnos gives me a final note before heading off, hopefully to find Bash and get started on reaching out to their contacts. Oh my god. I'm glad that the two of them will have something to keep them busy while we're here. Deciding to also move on, I take an elevator up the main lobby of the Spire and a lake that extends through the level, hoping it might be a calm place to collect my thoughts. Rayona? Can we talk to Rayona? She seemed worried. As I exit the elevator, I notice a familiar figure standing on the water's edge, her silver hair cascading down her back as she stares out across the lake. Here she is, Rayona? Oh, excuse me, Kiki, I was lost in thought. That's okay. If you'd rather be on your own, I can leave. No, you're not disturbing me. I'm glad you're here. I step up next to her as she stares wistfully at the lake, the two of us admiring it side by side. It must bring back a lot of memories being here. Rayona's face falls. I had meant to comment in a positive light, but by her reaction, I'd say she's thinking quite the opposite. I have many fond memories of growing up here, swimming in the lakes and waterfalls with my sisters, going to school. But mostly, I'm just reminded of my final days, the one that were less than happy. She sighs deeply, hesitating, and I give her a moment to quietly collect her thoughts. I left Ilaran because I wanted to help the people of Celiota while my father was content to hide here and do nothing. He told me that the other planets were responsible for cleaning up after themselves. I disagreed. Too many innocent people were suffering because of the messes that those more powerful than them had created. My mother and sisters were happy to follow his lead and ignore the world outside our planet. I couldn't sit back and watch. I refused. She stopped suddenly, and when I look at her, I see the shimmer of sparkling tears building in her bright eyes. That's why I joined the Archangels. But leaving this place, my family, and my home, it was a hard thing to do. Do you wish you had stayed? She tilts her head to one side, considering the question thoughtfully. No, I don't think so. I don't regret leaving. The only thing I regret is how it all happened. You make it sound as though you escaped this place in the middle of the night. In truth, I did. I told you how my friend was leaving to join Milla on Terranium and meet up with the Archangels. I decided to tag along, and together we took a vessel and left. She closes her eyes tight as though the memories of that time are too painful to bear. I decided it might be best to change the subject. Things with the Archangels had ended in tragedy. I don't want to force her to relive it. Eldred seems to have changed his mind about helping the system now. Yes, I'm glad for it, but I don't understand why he's suddenly deciding to help. He seems to have struck some kind of deal with your sister. Perhaps that was his motivation. And we got some new face models for Rayona over here, like wistful, worried, sort of like that. So we got two different face models for her. That's interesting. So you could ask him. I don't know, I'm not sure that I'm ready. Another choice, you should talk to him, or it's your decision, or let him come to you. I'm gonna say you should talk to him. It's been so long, perhaps it's time to make amends. You don't know what he's like, how stubborn he's been in the past. She sighs wistfully, her eyes trailing the ground at her feet before she lifts them to meet mine. I will think about it though. Thank you for your advice on the matter. I smiled at her softly, but to be honest, I don't think I was much help at all. Speaking of family, are your mother and sisters here in the Spire? From what I've heard, they're across the planet at the university. My mother gives medical lectures there often, and I've been told by my older sister, Nastasia, has recently finished her studies. And your other sister? Aithne? She's what you would call a bit wild. Rayona chuckles to herself quietly, distant memories gleaming in her eyes. I expect she was looking for a change of scenery, somewhere new where she could shake things up. She sounds like fun. She is, very much so. Though I have to admit that I'm relieved. Facing my father is one thing, but having to face my entire family... She shakes her head gently, as though envisioning that very meeting in her mind. In this case, I think small steps will be best. I need to take some time to process this all before I speak to him. Nodding my head, I glance at the lake once more, admiring how the sunlight shines on the surface. That's understandable. Truthfully, I just wanted to check in on you and see how you're feeling after the meeting. It was a lot to take in, for all of us, I'm sure. But I'm glad that something is being done and that people are willing to fight for the life they deserve. Rayona hesitates, and I get the impression she's having a hard time meeting my eyes, though I can't tell why. Though I have to admit, I'm afraid, she says. Afraid of what? I'm afraid of myself, of what I might do if it comes to a battle and I have to protect the people I love. Since you're part of the group, you should know what I've done. I stare at Rayona, confusion clouding me. What does she mean by what she's done? I'm listening. I told you how the Chimeri slaughtered the Archangels and how I eventually found refuge at the Ark where Bash found me. But I haven't told you everything. She looks away, something crossing her face that looks a lot like shame. The truth is, after the initial shock of watching my friends die had worn off, something came over me, a kind of darkness that I can hardly explain. I tracked down those Chimeri, no, hunted might be a better word for what I did. A group of them were staying at a local bunkhouse, 15 altogether. They'd been out drinking, celebrating their victory, the murder of the Archangels. Rayona hiccups quietly, tears dancing at the corner of her eyes before they begin to fall, streaming over luminescent skin. I took one of their guns while they were all either passed out or sleeping, and I shot every single one of them. Most of them didn't even wake, but the others, when they woke, terrified and confused, I took pleasure in shooting them again. I feel the horror growing inside me, though I hope for Rayona's sake it doesn't show on my face. When they were all dead, I stumbled out of there, numb, losing myself in the crowds of Terranium. I didn't stop walking until I ended up in front of the Ark, and something deep inside me knew that was where I was supposed to be. She takes in a deep breath to calm herself, though I see the way her hands shake as she relives these horrific moments from her past. Bash found me soon after, covered in blood. It took a while for him to get the truth out of me, and once he had, he didn't hesitate to help. So he introduced me to Calderon, who brought me into the crew as a medic, and that's where I've been ever since. She looks away quickly, wringing her long fingers together while glistening tears still lingering on her cheeks. 15. I still see their faces, each and every one, even standing here now. We could say another choice here. The Chimeri deserved it. Or I'm glad Bash found you. Or I'm sorry you had to go through that. If we say the Chimeri deserved it, obviously she knows that in her heart. But at the same time, it's a very insensitive thing to tell her, because she feels she carries so much regret, so much guilt, that I don't think this is the right thing to tell her, not right now at least. I'm gonna say I'm glad Bash found you. I'm glad to hear that Bash was the one who found you. Who knows what might have happened if he hadn't. Rayona smiles slightly, and after the tears, it's a refreshing sight. Yeah, we picked the right choice. I hate to think it, but I'm glad he found me too. He's been a loyal friend since that day. I have much to thank him for. You could be more than friends. And remember, we made a choice back when we were talking with Bash, And we said to him the same thing, like, oh, you and Rayona, maybe you could, you know, you guys could become more than friends. So I'm gonna tell her that too. I'm like a matchmaker for them, for these two. You could be more than friends. Forgive me if I'm crossing the line, but have you ever thought about him as more than a friend? Because I'm pretty sure he has a fairly heavy crush on you. Oh, look at her, look at Rihanna. Rihanna's cheeks flush with color, a small sound escaping her. I don't know. I haven't thought about it too much. But I suppose... She stops herself abruptly, her eyes going wide. Never mind. By the way she drops her gaze, I can tell that she's embarrassed, so I decide to drop the subject. For now. I have to ask, there are members of the crew who have killed and who have no issue with it. Does it not bother you to be around that? No, it's not as simple as all that. She swallows, turning away towards the lake, as though the water might give her strength. I regret killing those cavalry soldiers, but it's not the part that bothers me most. What bothers me is how much I enjoyed it. How sickeningly happy I was to know those soldiers were dead, despite knowing it would never bring my friends or Mila back. And this anger, it's like an infection slowly spreading through me. I've tried to keep it hidden. All these months I've dedicated myself to healing and helping others, but I still feel it. Deep down, I'm so angry, I'm so afraid of myself. It's against the hilarious nature to hurt others, yet I kill those soldiers without a thought. I've disgraced myself. And I'm scared that I might do it again, and here it is, the real part. The tears stream. Rihanna breaks down, the tears streaming once more, falling from the tip of her nose and disappearing into the lake. I give her some space, hoping she knows she can safely let out all her emotions without judgment. I can't tell you what will or won't happen in the future, but I know you, Rihanna. The soldiers who killed the archangels were bad people. Think of how many more they might have hurt if you hadn't put a stop to it. You have a heart that's bigger than anyone I've met. I think that somehow you need to find a way to forgive yourself. I can't. Hey, Ayame says. I was just talking to Kadar. Isn't he great? Ayame skips up to us happily, and I realized with a start that I must have been so engrossed in my conversation with Rihanna that I hadn't even heard her approach. Aya? I can't believe all the amazing work they've been doing with the Catalphans. I had no idea. Rihanna clears her throat quietly. Will you excuse me? Yes, of course. As Rihanna leaves, Aya's face falls, suddenly realizing the extent of her intrusion. Oh, shh. I interrupted something, didn't I? Me and my big mouth. It's okay, Rihanna's just dealing with some stuff, being back with Laren and all. Aya slaps a hand to her forehead, squeezing her eyes shut and groaning out loud. Oh, of course she is. I should have thought of that. I'm sorry, Kiki. I'll try and talk to her later. I might be able to find a way to cheer her up. I'm sure she'd appreciate that. Knowing that Aya isn't no doubt beating herself up for the interruption, I raise an eyebrow in her direction. Kadar, huh? She's like, oh, sounds like someone has a crush. Or are you blushing? What, no? Aya stutters quickly, her face flushed with color. I just think he's cool, that's all. I smirk at her. I saw the way she looked at Kadar during the meeting, and I don't buy that for a second. Sure you do. That's not fair. You have no right to tease me. Not when you're the one making googly eyes at June all day long. I choke on my own laughter, earning a triumphant look from Aya. Alright, fine, you got me there. We laugh together quietly. Unlike our previous conversation on the ship when Aya was so upset I didn't know what to do, she now seems to be in much higher spirits. It seems like you're feeling better. I think I am, a bit. Hearing about Kadar's work is exciting. She gives me a big smile and it helps to relieve some of the worry I've been carrying for her. There are people out there fighting to find a new home for Catalphans. I hope I can help even in some small way. I want to be able to make a difference in their lives. I'm sure you will. Or what about the crew? Or how would you help? I'm gonna say what about the crew? It seems like we need all the help we can get right now. The crew has always and will always be my first priority, she says. Aya looks off to the side, her gaze trailing the sunlit water. But what Katara is talking about is long-term stuff. Stuff that can make a real difference. All of a sudden she sighs, her shoulders slumping in unison. It probably seems silly to think about it now, what with everything else we're going through. I don't think it's silly. We all have to think about the future at some point. Yeah, I guess you're right. I know we'll never replace Kitalfa, but maybe we could find somewhere else to call home. Somewhere nice. And preferably on a beach. And that sounds amazing. Or what about Godis? Or I thought the ship was your home. I'm gonna say what about Godis? You wouldn't want to return there? Hell to the no. She blurts out the words before her eyes widen quickly. Sorry, I know it's your home, but it was never mine. It was just somewhere I ended up spending my time trying to somehow survive. You know, if I had one wish, it would be for Kitalfa to be alive and well. But since that will never happen, I'll settle for hoping that us Kitalfans can find somewhere new to call home. Wherever that might be. That's a good dream, Maya. If there's anything I can do to help, all you have to do is ask. Thanks, Kiki, I knew I could count on you. Oh, that's nice. With a final excited giggle, Ayame leaves and I find myself smiling after her. Things have been rough for her since Orion, but it seems now that she's finally starting to find some positivity in her thoughts of the future. With a small laugh, I look out over the lake, deciding what to do. A small sigh, sorry, not a laugh. With a small sigh, I look out over the lake, deciding what to do next. Oh, we have another choice, so we can head to the rebel camp, which is where we just were. I don't know why we would go back there. Walk around the lake, go to the gazebo, or return to your room. I'm gonna go to the gazebo and see who is there. Maybe Narissa is gonna be there. Spotting the gazebo across the lake, I decide to spend some time there enjoying the peace. Though when I approach the quiet spot, I find it's already occupied. Oh, it's June! Hey, you two, June and Lizzie, his lizard. Hey, you two, fancy running into you here. Mind if I join you? June smiles and reaches up to give Lizzie a pat, who sits on his shoulders contentedly. We love that. Lizzie and I are just taking in the sights. Of course, we haven't had enough time together as I would have liked. Me too. I take a seat on the bench next to June, and immediately he takes my hand in his, giving me a soft smile. I return the gesture until I notice Lizzie watching me through black, beady eyes. They're not black, are they? They're green eyes. What? As though subtly weighing my worth. You can pet him if you want. Yes, I mean, I'd love to. June chuckles at my enthusiasm as he sets Lizzie down on the bench between us, and immediately the lizard turns to blink up at me curiously. Alright, Lizzie, play nice. I'm gonna pet Lizzie. Oh, look at Lizzie! It's so cute! Taking care to go slow, I reach out my hands toward Lizzie, letting him get used to it before I get closer. Lizzie closes his eyes, softly pushing his little head against my hand as I pet him. See that? He likes you. I smile as I stroke the lizard's head and down his neck. His skin is rough in patches but also quite soft. It's clear by the colors he sports, vibrant blue, green, and yellow, that he's well looked after. That's cute. Here you go, Lizzie. Good boy. June takes a few pellets from his pocket and sets them on the bench in front of Lizzie, who gobbles them up greedily. He then gives the lizard a soft scratch under the chin before Lizzie curls up on the bench and closes his eyes happily. So, what do you think of Tillaren so far? June asks. June gestures with a hand to the lake and the large waterfall situated on one side of the enormous building. A monorail travels by in the distance, the sound of it almost completely drowned out by the water rushing down over the gigantic rock arch. It's better than I expected, or I'm not impressed, or I wish I could see more of it. I'm gonna say I wish I could see more of it. Me too. I'm hoping to get the chance to see the rooftop gardens while we're here. Yes. I bet the view of the stars up there is unlike anything else. I smile at his enthusiasm and how adorable he is when he mentions his hobbies. Maybe we could go together sometime, he asks. That sounds really nice, we say. I wonder what we'd see up there. Well, Tillaren has 3 moons. One of them they consider holy, but I love to get a glimpse of any of them. There are some pretty neat constellations to see from here too. June sighs wistfully before he stops himself suddenly. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on and on about it. I just hoped I get the chance to get up there, that's all. Don't apologize. I'm happy that you're excited about it. I looked June over with curiosity, noting the brightness of his grey eyes, the flush of color on his skin. He looks healthy, well rested, and a far cry from the sight I saw on Orion. It seems like you're doing well, June. I am. I'm feeling good, and I'm happy to be here on Telaran, especially after finding out the plans to take down Zovak. I'm glad that people are willing to fight against him. I give him a small smile, feeling a similar way. Kadar asked you to help with a plan for the Orionite soldiers. How do you feel about that? It's a bit daunting, he says, to be honest. I don't have any desire to dive back into that world, but I know I have to help. I'd regret it forever if I didn't. I reach out to take his hand, letting it rest on the bench between us next to the little sleeping lizard. You're doing a good thing. Thanks, Kiki. June takes in a breath as he looks out over the lake, a glimmer of worry dancing in his eyes. I think I have a subtle idea of what might be the cause of it. June, are you worried that your parents might still be out there? His face falls as he turns to me. And that's right, when we were in Orion in the laboratory, he saw some documents that had his mother's name on it because his mother, she was like one of the scientists who basically worked on him as this human subject. So that's really bad, obviously, but she was still working there, so he thought that he had killed them all, but he didn't, and it's like now he has to struggle or like fight with this idea that they're still out there, that they're still doing bad things to people like him. So his face falls as he turns to me. I'm not sure he was expecting me to ask, but I would like to know his thoughts on the matter. My father is dead. He died the day I escaped the facility. But there is plenty of evidence that my mother is still out there continuing their work. He makes a frustrated sound, taking one of the leaves from the vines covering the gazebo and twisting it between his fingers. I don't doubt she aligned with Zobak the second she got the chance. She would have done anything in order to continue her research. I'm sorry to hear that, we say. He blows out a breath, dropping his hands to his sides. To be honest, I try not to think about it too much. They were never my family, not in the way that Jules was, that you are. I have to remind myself that it's not my fault, the creation of the Orionite soldiers. I wasn't the one who created them, but I can be the one who puts an end to them once and for all. My mouth twitches into a small smile, but my sadness for him remains. I know all too well how it feels to be ashamed by your family, and the need to break away from that. As if he senses my very thoughts, June sighs softly, fiddling with the bracelets around his wrists. What about you? Your sister wants you to help her take back the throne? Yes, it seems that way. I'm willing to help her in any way I can. June makes a small sound, and somehow I get the impression that he doesn't approve of that plan. Personally, he says, I think that Alyssa and Zane are right. They should have given the chance to look after their own people. I'm sure Nerissa would do a great job as queen, especially with your council, but maybe it's time things changed. I nod slowly, but I say nothing. I don't expect everyone to have the same opinion as me. You two are lucky that you found each other again. Really lucky. I'm so happy for you, Kiki. He smiles at me warmly, though I can't stop the pang of guilt knowing that he wasn't lucky enough to make it this far with his own sibling. I'm happy too, though I'm worried about what's to come. I blow out a breath. It's easy now, sitting in this gazebo in front of such a beautiful, peaceful view, to forget everything else that's going on in the system. I'm starting to see how the Telari were able to do it for so long. We have so much lying ahead of us. It's hard to think of much else. June nods softly, his sandy blonde hair falling around his face as he does so. I understand that. But I think the most important thing is that we're all together. We'll find a way to go through it. Lizzie suddenly stirs on the bench in front of us, giving a little wheeze as he scurries over to June happily. June picks up the lizard, letting him settle on his shoulders, enjoying his usual perch. I'm going to head off. I'll leave you to enjoy the view. I reach out to give June's hand one last affectionate squeeze before I stand. See you later? You can count on it. Oh, that's cute. Leaving June and Lizzie to enjoy the peace of the gazebo, I step out into the sunshine, deciding what to do next. We can walk around the lake. Okay, I'm guessing each one of these will meet another person. So I'm gonna go through them all. I glance out over the lake, so beautiful and still as it dazzles in the fading light. I don't want to leave it just yet. Instead, I walk around the water's edge, taking in the beauty of the spire. People pass me by, usually to Larry, but there are a few of the rebels here and there. They offer me smiles, though I don't miss the looks they shoot at each other or the whispers they exchange once they believe they're out of earshot. A little way further, I come across a familiar trio standing together in a small grassy area beneath the shade of a rather impressive willow tree. Damon is the first to look up as I approach, the frown on his face apparent as he cuts the conversation with Alyssa and Zane short. Okay. Well, look who it is. Fancy seeing you here. Didn't think you were one to be out enjoying the sun. You seem more like the dark and shadowy type. There's a lot you don't know about me, princess, Damon says. I give both Alyssa and Zane a nod in greeting, but the air between us is as frosty after our disagreement earlier. Are you talking about the meeting? Alyssa snorts loudly. Yes, genius, we're talking about the meeting. Lisa, don't be like that, Damon says. How else should I be exactly? If you expect me to bow down and kiss the feet of the person helping to push Cursa further down in the mud, then you're seriously deluded. The two of them glare at each other, the sight of it twisting my stomach. Though we might not agree on everything, I don't want something like this to put a wedge between their friendship. Let's back it up a bit, eh, honeybee? I told you not to call me that in public. Honeybee? Oh, you two are gross. You're one to talk, Alyssa says. She makes a face at Damon, earning an obscene hand gesture in response, though the two of them only end up laughing. Did he flip with a finger at her? It's nice to see that despite everything that's happening, their friendship is still as strong as ever. I get the feeling that we're all going to need our friends before the end. Look, I know you're angry, Alyssa, and I don't blame you, but there has to be some way we can all work together. Our priority is taking down Zobak and the Chimeri, the one thing that will benefit us all. Alyssa surveys me through narrowed eyes before she relents with a nod of her head. You're right, I'll give you that. We'll need that loser of the throne and his soldiers off our planet. But I'm not finished negotiating with your sister. If she thinks we'll bow down and let her take control, she is wrong. Honestly, I wouldn't expect anything less from you. We share a small smile and the ice between us begins to melt, if only a little. I know you're not going to believe me, but Nerissa is not what you think. She really does want what's best for everyone, even if she's going about it in a way that not all of us agree with. With her hands in her pockets, Alice steps up to me. She's a small woman, but that doesn't make her a presence any less imposing. I suppose I'll have to take your word on it. Damon trusts you, so I don't see why I shouldn't. I nod in understanding. While I doubt we'll ever be the best of friends, if we can at least work together, fight together for a future that benefits us all, then I'd be okay with that. Turning back to the two men, she indicates at Zane with a nod of her head, her copper hair falling around her shoulders as she does so. Zane, let's give them some time alone. We should track down those so-called rebel leaders and discuss a few things. Okay. With a small wave goodbye, Alyssa heads off, Zane slowly making a move to follow. See you later, Reznor. He winks at Damon as he leaves, chuckling to himself quietly about something only he seems to know. Was he flirting with you? I'm gonna say that. Actually, I don't think he was flirting with him. I think it's more like Alyssa used to be in a relationship with Damon, but now she's in a relationship with Zane. So Zane is like all smug-like, you know? So I turn to Damon, noting the look of annoyance on his face, though I don't miss the subtle flush of color that stains his cheeks. Who knows? That guy's a clown. He shoves his hands in his pockets, uncharacteristically studying the ground at his feet. So him and Alyssa are a thing, yeah, it's weird, I know. It's not so weird, I think they suit each other. And surely them getting along is only going to benefit Cursa. I can tell she enjoys having him follow her around like a lost little puppy in any case. As long as she's happy, I suppose. I shake my head at him but smile nonetheless. I'm not sure what's going on with him, but I'll admit that it's intriguing. She's your best friend, that should be all that matters. Damon chuckles softly, the annoyance casually slipping from his face to reveal a smile. Look at you being all wise and stuff. You're right, but don't let that get to your head. Oh, I can't speak. I've been talking for so long. He leans back against the trunk of the tree, its trailing leaves swaying softly between us. There's a slight breeze in the air, though with us being surrounded by the glass walls of the spire on all sides, I suppose it must be artificial. They're not very happy with me, are they? Not really, but who wants to please everyone all the time, huh? I give him a grateful smile, but it doesn't make me feel any much better. And you? What do you think about all this? Hell, I want Cursor to have its independence as much as Lisa, but old Queen is not wrong to have her doubts. All I know is that none of us are taking down Zovak alone. That's what we should focus on, the rest can wait. I think you're right. Of course I am. I roll my eyes at him, though he simply chuckles in response. It doesn't take long before his face falls again. So we're finally heading to Goddess. It'll be interesting. What do you mean? Zovak is not dumb. He knows we're planning something. How we'll manage to get past his guard, I don't know. I'm gonna ask him, we can say I love your optimism, which is like a very cheeky thing to say right here, or do you have any ideas, which is the better, more productive thing to ask. So do you have any ideas on how we can get to him? You've worked with him before, surely your inside knowledge could benefit us. Damon nods, though he doesn't look proud of the fact. I might have one or two. Kodar will meet with me and Carrot Head tomorrow. We'll go over some things then. I hope the three of you can come up with something, or else I guess we're screwed. Damon shoved his hands in his pockets, a strange expression coming over his face. I didn't mean to worry you about Zovak. No matter what, we'll give this our best shot, me included. I know, it's just... I've already lost one family. I don't want to lose another. I'll do everything I can to make sure that doesn't happen. This is my family too, remember? I thought you'd never admit it out loud. Yeah, well, I guess the situation has made me all mushy and stuff. We share a smile, and it occurs to me how much he really has changed these last few weeks. I no longer see the Damon who thought purely of his own desires, using cruelty and recklessness to achieve his ends. While I've no doubt he's still in there somewhere, I feel fortunate that he feels comfortable enough to let his guard down around me. To show me the kind of man that he truly wants to be. I like you like this, we say. I blurt out the words before I can stop myself, but I don't regret them. Damon breathes out a laugh, seeming taken aback by the admission. Yeah? Something soft crosses onto his face, his head tilting thoughtfully. I like me like this too. We let the moment linger a little longer, and I know now, without a shadow of a doubt, that Damon is truly a friend that I can count on. He clears his throat finally, his gaze shifting back to the sharp mask I've grown to know all too well. I better catch up to Lisa and Zane. There's more to talk about where Curse is concerned, and I want to be involved. For the first time that I can remember, Damon seems almost unsure of himself. You should be. Go. Damon heads off, giving me one last nod before he does, and I decide what to do next. Let's return to our room, because I don't think anyone will be at the camp because they all left, so we've met pretty much everyone we can. So I make the decision to head back to my room. It's been a long day, and the thought of curling up in that enormous bed right now sounds like heaven. Taking the elevator, I travel up the spiral, leaning back against the wall and feeling the coolness of the glass against the back of my neck. My thoughts drift back to the meeting and to the plans that have been set in motion. It seems like everyone has their part to play. I need to speak to Nerissa privately and find out what I can do to help. There has to be something. The elevator slows, and when the doors open to deliver me to my floor of the spire, I head towards my room. Oh, it's nice and dark. Look at that. It's so beautiful. And we see the 3 moons, actually. Which one do you think is the holy one? Because one of the crew members, I think June, said one of the moons is considered holy in their religion. Maybe the biggest one, or the smallest one, which is the brightest for some reason. I don't know. Pouring myself a glass of a chilled water from the pitcher beside the bed, I sip on the drink as I gaze out the window, admiring the view. It's so peaceful here, so easy to forget everything else that's going on. Part of me is tempted to stay here forever. This is where my mother was from, after all. Perhaps I belong here. An alert sound letting me know that there's someone at the door. Abandoning my glass, I head over to see who could be visiting me. What's Vex? What are you doing here? I thought you were at the hospital. Vex makes a small, discontented sound as I give him space to step into the room. I give him a quick once-over, though nothing seems to be amiss. I needed to get out of there for a bit. All of the white walls and beeping machines were doing my head in. He paces through the room, glancing around the space as his boots echo over the polished floors. Thought I'd see how you were doing? I shake my head at him and smile. I know what he really means. I'm doing fine. You don't need to worry about me, you know. Yeah, I know. Looks like we've got a pretty cushy spot here in any case. I drag my eyes across the room from the breathtaking views to the water garden. Oh yeah, there's the water garden right there with like trees and stuff. To the bed that can easily sleep 7. Suddenly, I feel a little guilty at having this enormous space to myself while he's been stuck in the hospital room. Taking in a breath, I tell myself that it's for his own good. That he needs the help of the veterinary to set his mind straight. How are you feeling? Any luck at the hospital? I'm doing better. Rihanna was right. The veterinary seemed to know more about what was done to me than any of us. I'm starting to remember more. Memories that were hazy are coming back. The doctors have more to do, but it's working. It's really working. A glimmer of hope ignites within me. Rihanna had promised that the Larry could help Vex, and it seemed like she was right. What is it that they're doing? They have these machines. They're not meant for a condition like mine exactly, but they're getting the job done. They alter brainwaves, stimulate memories. We've worked out how certain memories are helping to repair my brain almost like an antidote to its poison. What kind of memories? Once from when I was a kid, I was close with my mom and dad. We loved food and we loved to play games. I was into sports. Me and the kids in the neighborhood used to kick around the ball out on the street until way after dark. He steps a little closer, a soft smile tilting his lips as his eyes meet mine. But my strongest memories are of you. My mouth parts in surprise, though Vex's face falls suddenly. At first, when the machines were pulling them to the surface, I didn't think they were real. I was too happy in them, happier than I can ever remember being. The places in them were so familiar. Gardens, fountains, the city lights. But the feelings, they didn't feel like mine. They were real. I felt the same way. I had never had a real friend until you. And when we became more than that, it was like my whole world shifted. All of a sudden I was excited about life and what might happen in the future. Vex reaches out the hand, taking mine in his and holding it softly. We had something special and it was ripped away. Is this really the end for us? I pull my bottom lip between my teeth as I shake my head and let my hand drop from his, shaking out the past and the memories of us. Vex, we can't go back to how things were, not now. I've met someone else, and I'm happy. June, I know. I don't know much about him, but I've seen the way he looks at you. He's head over heels. He sighs as he rubs a hand over the back of his neck, forcing himself to meet my gaze. If you say that you are happy with him, then I'm happy. I appreciate that. Vex goes quiet, his head turning towards the window as he takes in a deep, slow breath. I know that I could apologize 1,000 times that it will never make a difference, but I want to tell you again how sorry I am. For the night of the coup, for deceiving you. I swallow down the hurt that rises in me. Narissa and I escaped with our lives, but the rest of the family weren't so lucky. While the good memories have been flooding back to me, so have the bad. I see them every time I close my eyes. Oberon protecting his children, Celeste and Arlo, their hands clasped together, surrounded by blood. A wave of nausea rises in my throat. If I had been there that night, I have no doubt it would have ended the same way as my siblings. Vex held his hands to his face, his voice shaking as it slips between his fingers. I couldn't control any of it. I couldn't control myself. I was like a puppet fighting against its master. Tears fall, slipping down his cheeks and leaving a glistening trail. Vex sniffles as he looks at me. I don't know what I can do to ever make things right. Narissa is alive, we say, and you're getting the help you need. That's all that matters. The coup wasn't your fault, Vex. It was Zovak's. Even so, the knowledge of the palace, the hidden corridor, Zovak took all that from my mind. By force. You're not making this easy for me, princess. I forgive you. I've already forgiven you. There's little use in dwelling on the mistakes we've made in the past. Vex, you have to forgive yourself. He manages to compose himself, though I don't miss the way his hands shake at his sides. I'll try. Placing a hand on his arm, I attempt to encourage a smile. It will take time, and although we've never fully healed from the past, the least we can do is help each other get through. There's something I've been wanting to ask you, but I didn't dare, not until you became more stable. You can ask me anything, he says. I hesitate a little, but I manage to pull out every ounce of determination I possess. I need to know. When was it real for you? When did it become more than a mission? Back at the palace, you and me? Vex looks away suddenly, his mind is drifting back to the past. He's quiet for a long while, and I think he's not going to say anything at all until he speaks. Do you remember the first time we went to the zoo in Siltavi? You were looking at those weird monkeys and you were laughing so hard that people started to stare. You said you'd never seen anything like them before. I caught myself thinking that I could spend every day showing you something new, something you'd never seen before, just to see that look on your face. He catches himself before he says too much, but he's already said more than enough. That's when I knew it was real. I knew that I was in love with you, and that you were all that I wanted. Oh, this breaks my heart. Screws Ovak and his plans. Nerissa was going to help me find my parents. I should have stuck with the both of you. I don't know what to say. My tongue sits uselessly in my mouth while my heart pounds in my chest, neither one of them doing me any good. Taking in a lungful of air, I find myself finally able to breathe. I'm sorry that things can't be the same as they were, but that doesn't change how much I cared for you. I want the best for you, Vex. I really do. He nods softly, and I know he understands. I would give the world to you if I could. Anything you ask for. I'll always be here for you, Kiki. Oh, that's so sweet, but also bittersweet because we've already locked in the June choice. So it's very bittersweet. So I swallow around the lump in my throat, memories of the past dancing behind my eyes. We have to stop him. Zovak. If either of us are going to move on with our lives. We will, he says. The way he says it sounds less like an agreement and more of a promise. It's comforting to know that we're on the same page despite everything that's happened to us. What about Nerissa? Have you spoken to her? Not yet. I'm worried what might happen if I'm near her, given that I was programmed to kill her and all. I need some time to get myself together, then I'll speak to her. I think that would be good for both of you. He grins, and a little of the old humor creeps back into his face. If she doesn't stab me in the gut, you mean? I don't think she will. Kay, on the other hand. Yes, would you think less of me if I told you I've been avoiding him like the plague? Not at all. I'd say that's very wise of you for the time being. We laugh together, and for a moment it feels like old times. I've hardly been able to admit it to myself, but I missed it. Well, I'd better head back to the hospital before they send out the search party. You didn't tell them you were leaving? They would never have let me go, and I wanted to see you. I shake my head at him, but I can't stop the smile that slips onto my lips. It seems that some things never change. Vex and I say our goodbyes, and once he got safely headed back to the hospital, I decide to settle in for the evening. Dropping down onto the gigantic bed, I grab my holopad, noticing a few notifications I'd missed while I was out. I pull a blanket over myself for a warmth and project the screen, realizing that they're in our group chat. I scroll back through the messages I've missed until I reach the current conversation. Calderon says, Bash, stop plugging the channel with memes. This chat is for communication. See, I knew there was gonna be memes, and Bash is the one. Memes are a form of communication, Bash defends himself. I'll communicate my foot up your butt if you don't cut it out. Kinky. That's it, I'm muting you all. I am it, ... Is he gone? Bash sent a picture. Bash sent a picture. Bash sent a picture. Whoa, new memes. Calderon ... I'm still here. That sounds like a you problem. Enough with the memes. You're not the boss of me. Oh, wait. June sent a picture. I give up, Calderon says. Lizzie, it's Lizzie. Demon, you called? With a small chuckle, I put my holopad aside, my eyes growing heavy despite the sun having barely dipped below the horizon. The sound of running water soothes me, the scent of water lilies perfumes the air. I let myself go, the serenity of Telarin enveloping me as I fall into a deep and restful sleep. Okay, the next morning I'm up early getting dressed and ready for the day while the sun rises and feeling refreshed after an early night. A little while later, I found myself walking through the spire looking for Bash. He wasn't in his room, which has made the worry that it's sitting in the pit of my stomach start to grow. Oh yeah, has he made those adjustments that he wanted to do? So At the meeting, he seemed fine, but I know how good he is at putting on a show. It's what lies beneath his cool and charming exterior that has me worried. During my search, I spot two figures near the lake talking solemnly. As I approach, I manage to pick up bits of their conversation more clearly. Kyle, now do you understand everything you'd be giving up? Yeah, I get it, but I'm still not sure, Bash says. I don't see any other choice. There is always a choice, and it's yours. No one can take that from you. But remember that you're also the one who will have to live with the decision you make. Bash nods solemnly, looking torn by whatever it is they're spoken about. I mean, obviously, what do you mean whatever they're talking about? They're talking about the modifications. If my conversation with Kay yesterday is an indication, I'm sure I know the topic. Yeah, exactly. So Kyle says, if you want to talk more, you know where to find me. Thanks, Kay. I guess I have a lot to think about. Yeah, that was kind of like already pretty much obvious from our convo with Kay or Kyle that he would change Bash's mind. I don't think Bash is anymore in any danger of like turning himself into a full-on robot. Kay puts a hand on Bash's shoulder, leaning in and speaking something to him that I can't quite hear. I wait for them to say goodbye, watching Kyle leave before I approach Bash alone and give him a bright smile. Hey, what was that all about? Bash raises his head at the sound of my voice, but he hardly looks happy to see me. I will tell you, but I think you already know. Isn't that why Kay tracked me down, because you asked him to? I take in a breath, hesitating before I answer. Okay, you got me there. I spoke to Kay about you and how you were planning to mod yourself here on Telaran. I was worried and I thought he might be able to help. Are you mad? Nah, I understand that. I know you were worried. What did Kay say to you? I mean, if you don't mind me asking. Bash hesitates, seeming to think things through before he speaks again. He gave me some insight on what life would be like if I go through with all the mods. He made some good points. I've been thinking about the strength the mods will give me, but not about the way they might take... not about what they might take from me. Flexing his bionic arm in front of him, a sad smile tugs on the corners of his mouth. Do you know what you're going to do? No. I've put my plans on hold for now. I know there are other things that need my attention. His gaze drops to the ground suddenly, a look of guilt coming over him. Kiki? I'm sorry that I didn't listen to you the last time we talked about this, that I didn't take your concerns on board. I was upset. I couldn't see any other option. I nod, accepting his apology. I can see his point of view, even though it's one that slightly terrifies me. It's okay, Bash. I'm not gonna write you off that easily. Friends are supposed to support each other, even when they disagree. That is true. How are you feeling about everything now? Now? I haven't ruled the mods out completely, but I think I should take some more time to think it through before jumping into anything. We have a choice here. We could say it's your decision, which is like trusting him to make the right choice. We could say you shouldn't do it, which is, again, a little bit more forceful, or we could say be careful. I'm gonna say you shouldn't do it. I don't think you should go through with it. I've already told you my fears, Bash. It's a bad idea. Sorry to say it so bluntly, but it's not your choice. Oops. I need to make this decision for myself. I hope you would understand. I sigh softly, my shoulders slumping in defeat. I suppose you're right. I just worry about you, that's all. Bash softens at that, letting out a long, steady breath. I know. You're a good friend, Kiki. Bash gives me a grateful smile, and I know that the best thing I can do right now is support him. So you and Kay are getting along well? I tend to change the topic to something lighter. Now that I know where he stands with the mods, I have to leave the rest in his hands. Ha! I thought his name was Kyle at first, but he wasn't too happy when I called him that. But he's a pretty cool dude. I like him. Yeah, it's not Kyle. It's like KYL3 or something. But I'm gonna keep calling him Kyle. I don't care. He actually offered to train with me while we're here. It'd be nice to train with someone who can withstand my bionics. The only one on the crew who comes close is June. It sounds like a good idea. I should probably do some training of my own. Bash gives me an enthusiastic nod. It's true that I've been slacking on my training the past few days, but after everything that's happened, I've needed to take time to get myself together. You should ask Kadar to help you with your shooting. It looks as though they're pretty handy with the bow, so he's gonna have a good aim, right? Yeah, you're right. I ask him if he has any time to spare. I think back to Orion and how I handled myself in my first real fight. I had surprised myself utilizing skills that I didn't even know I had to pull myself through that battle. That I didn't even know I had to pull myself through that battle. I want to make sure that I'm ready to face the Chimeri, and it seems as though they'll give me more than a challenge. I made a mental note to organize myself for training, knowing I have to track down the ship and find my gear. Keeping the thought for later, I turned back to Bash with a smile. So, have you and Oppo managed to get much recruiting done together? We've gotten in contact with a lot of people from Terranium, Bash says. Most of them are coming here. They should start arriving over the next few days. There's quite a few of them actually, but the more the merrier, right? I think of the rebel camp on the ground floor, the entire thing littered with tents, sleeping quarters, equipment. Is there enough space for everyone? We'll make it work. Eldred says the neighboring spires can house the people that can't fit here. The more people we can get here, the better. It'll draw Zovak's attention even further, which will leave room for smaller teams to sneak into the metaphorical back door and take him by surprise. Bash speaks about it all so casually, and I can tell that he's used to a life like this, making plans, fighting his battles, all the things I've never had to do. Wow, this is all really happening. We can say a choice here. I'm scared, I'm excited, or I'm skeptical. I am honestly excited to see how the story progresses, so in turn I'm excited to see what's gonna happen with this, so I'm gonna say I'm excited. Things are finally moving. I can't wait to take Zovak down. I wouldn't underestimate the Chimeri. They've done a number on our crew. But it's about time we did something about it, don't you think? Bash and I share a look, knowing that for too long Zovak and his Chimeri have been getting away with doing terrible things to the people of Celiora. Someone has to put a stop to it, and if that's us, then we're willing to step up to the mark. With a deep breath, Bash manages to shake off the weight on his shoulders and instead offers me a warm smile. So listen, I want to tell you that I was pretty impressed by how you spoke in the meeting yesterday. The way you stood up to Alyssa, I wouldn't have had the guts to do that, but you were right. The Chimeri started as a Curson clan, and look at where they are now. I don't think we should trust them so easily, and Nerissa seems to know what she's doing. I think back to the moment wishing that I didn't have to step on anyone's toes, but knowing it was necessary. Thanks, Bash, that means a lot to hear you say. He smiles at me, warm and wide, and I realize that I needed this conversation with him. After hearing what he has to say, I feel as though I can stop worrying so much. At least for the time being. Well, I should go and meet up with Oppo. We've got more work to do, especially with so many people making their way here. Is there anything I can help with? Now we got it covered. Thanks for offering, though. Bash cuts off, though I feel a little dejected by the refusal. I would have liked to help in some way. With nothing left to do with my day, I decided I'll take some time to explore the spire and hopefully track down Nerissa while I'm at it. She's going to let me help with this rebellion whether she likes it or not, and if she doesn't, then I suppose I'll have to find my own little way to help. Okay, later that evening I find myself relaxing in my room. I spent the day out in the spire and found a mall filled with all kinds of shops on one of the lower floors. The new outfit I'm wearing is from one of the stores. It's a little more flowy than I'd usually choose to wear, being in a Teleri style, but it's comfortable, and the silky fabric feels amazing against my skin. An alert goes off in my holopad. When I check the notifications, either it's a message from Nerissa. I need your help with something important. Will you meet me tomorrow morning at the gazebo? I haven't seen her all day, but not for lack of trying. I've been hoping to corner her and ask for something to do. Tomorrow it seems like I'll have my chance. I'll be there. We message her back, and I flop against my bed and stare up at the ceiling, blowing out a long breath. Knowing that Nerissa needs my help with something eases the restlessness that's been gnawing at me, if only a little. I'm looking forward to this meeting with her. The alert for the door goes through the room, and at once I bolt upright and run my hands all over my clothes, smoothing down the fabric. Drew had messaged me earlier asking if he could come to my room to spend some time together, and I'd happily said yes. Is what I think is gonna happen going to happen? Is there gonna be like some smoochy times, or maybe even more? Spending time together at night. If I'm being honest with myself, I've been looking forward to spending some more time with him since we got here. Oh! I hope that something will happen between us. We're just hanging out, nothing more, or I'm happy to have some company. I'm gonna say I hope that something will happen between us. I'm nervous. Well, I don't know what will happen. The possibility that something could happen is beginning to make me sweat. And the fact that I'm actually hoping something will happen is making it worse. Not wanting to seem too eager, I wait a good few seconds more before I head for the door. June stands in the hallway, the sleeves of his shirt casually rolled up to his elbows, and his collar unbuttoned. He smiles warmly at the sight of me. Hey, you look really nice. My face warms a little, not used to the compliment, but I enjoy it nonetheless. Oh, thanks, you look nice too. He chuckles softly as I give him space to enter the room, and it's only now that I notice he's holding something behind his back. Here, these are for you. One of the Teleri I met helped me put them together there from the rooftop garden. He passes me a small posy of flowers, the stems delicately held together with a beautiful iridescent ribbon. Thank you, June, they're beautiful. I admired the bouquet filled with petals of blue and white and a few pops of pink. Holding them to my nose, I inhaled a delicate floral fragrance, breathing it in deep. So you got a chance to go up on the roof? No, not yet. I got these from one of the vendors. Do you know that there's a whole shopping mall on the 50th floor? This place is amazing. The way June lights up makes me smile. I'm glad he's enjoying his time here. He deserves a bit of peace after everything he's overcome. Here, I'll put those in some water for you. June takes the flowers and I follow behind him, watching as he fills a small glass and pops the stems into the water. I went down to the shopping mall earlier actually. I got this outfit there. You're right, it's pretty impressive. June smiles when he turns to me, his eyes twinkling at the sides as he reaches out and pulls me closer by the hand, inspecting my outfit. I like it, it suits you. I brush a hand over the flowy fabric, smoothing out any invisible wrinkles. I thought you might. You seem to be warming up quickly to this place. What can I say? I like it here. The people have been kind to me. That's not something I'm used to. June's face falls, and I need to change the music volume a little bit lower. I just realized that it might be a little bit high. Okay, there we go. And I'm gonna save. There we go. June's face falls and my chest tightens at the thought. I'm happy that he's fitting in here and that all the Larry have been so good to him. It breaks my heart to think that people treated him any less than that. Hey, what's that on your finger? Happy to change the subject, I lift my hand to show him my ring, letting him inspect it closer. It's a signal ring, the Pegasi family crest. Nerissa gave it to me yesterday. June smiles, though something about it seems a little forced. I know he's never been a fan of the Pegasi, but he's also done his best to overcome that. That was nice of her. Yeah, it was. With a sigh, June shoves his hands in his pockets, turning and pacing through the room. He gets to the enormous window in the far wall, no doubt drawn in by the view. You've got a nice room. It's surprisingly cozy despite being so big. Your room isn't the same? It's a little smaller. A lot smaller, actually. I flush a little at the thought, my cheeks burning. I would have been happy to have a room like everyone else. Something tells me that Nerissa may have pulled a few strings to get me an upgrade. I join June at the window, the two of us side by side, gazing out at the view of the planet. It's nice here, so green and full of life. It reminds me of Orion, he says. Do you ever miss Orion? I wish I could say yes. I was born there after all, and the planet itself is quite beautiful. But I have so many terrible memories of being there, it never felt like home. I silently reach out for June's hand, intertwining my fingers with his, as he turns to smile at me softly. Hand in hand, we head to the lounge area, finding a spot together amongst the plush cushions on the floor. June stretches out his long legs and leans back against the seat, but there's something strange about the look on his face. Something sad. Something's bothering you, we say. I lean against him, shoulder to shoulder, hearing the long, tired breath he exhales. You can talk to me. I don't want to ruin our time together. You won't. Silence stretches between us, and for a moment I think that he isn't going to say anything at all until he lets out another long sigh. I've been thinking a lot lately about so many things. I escaped the facility on Orion when I was 16, and I had nothing. No money, no belongings. I didn't even know how the outside world worked. I stumbled my way from planet to planet, picking up jobs, never staying in one place long enough to be recognized as more than a lone mercenary. The more time went on, the more I accepted my solitude. I reach over and take his hand. He squeezes it tight, letting out the clasped hands rest comfortably. Letting our clasped hands rest comfortably between us. For so long I felt like I've never belonged in this world. I was always different, and people knew it. They would stare, terrified at the sight of me. But you never looked at me like that, not once. June turns to me, his soft eyes and tilted lips warming something deep inside me. The truth is, you feel more like home than anywhere I've ever been. The breath from my body is completely snatched at his admission. Knowing that June feels that way makes me realize how much I've been viewing him the same way. It makes me realize that home isn't always a place, sometimes it's a person. I understand how it feels to not belong. I grew up thinking I was alone, doing my duty and keeping my head down, but I wanted to do so much more. I clasped June's hands tight, holding on, thinking to myself that I'll never let go again. What did you want? To find someone like you. Someone who would know me for who I am and not what I was. I wanted someone who would put me first and who could care about me without expectations. You found that. All of that and more. June puts an arm around my shoulders, drawing me in close as he looks out the window towards the night sky and the stars that blink like tiny white pinpricks in a navy blanket. You know what? There are so many things I love about the stars. When two stars collide, they cause a fireball that lights up the sky. That's us, Hiki, you and me. We shine brighter because we found each other. Oh, that's nice. And I promise I'll never let you go, he says. With my heart fluttering in my chest, I turn towards June, my eyes softly closing as he slowly leans in and kisses me. There's something different in the way our lips meet, something more urgent, more desperate. Okay. His warm hands travel up the sides of my face, threading into my hair and drawing a soft, satisfied sound from my lips. June stops himself suddenly, pulling back with a breathy laugh, as though afraid to release the hold on whatever leash he's keeping on himself. I'm sorry, we can slow down if you want. No, I don't want to slow down. I want to be close to you, June. I interrupt June with a kiss, showing him that I'm ready to go further. I'm ready to take things all the way. I feel him smile again. Oh, this is so funny. This is so funny. What am I playing right now? Jesus. I feel him smile against my lips, his arms snaking around my wrist and pulling me so close that I have to plant a hand against his chest to keep me from falling against him completely. He kisses me deep, his tongue sweeping through my mouth, sending tiny shivers skittering through me all the way down to my toes. I groan in disappointment when June breaks the kiss again and pushes himself to his feet, but when he reaches out a hand and leads me towards the bed, I know we're far from finished. His mouth sinks into mine and my body goes warm all over, heat seeping through me all the way down to my bones. Unable to think straight, my fingers find themselves fumbling with the buttons on his shirt, freeing them from the holes. June chuckles against my mouth as together we manage to rip his shirt right off his arms. I run my hands over his bare chest and shoulders, feeling the raised ridges of his scars beneath my fingertips. Oh! Okay, this is so funny. What am I playing right now? Now what is this? What is this? He has a happy trail. He says, I've never done this with someone I cared about. Not like the way I care for you. He has a six-pack too. He lightly runs a finger across my mouth, tracing the curves before dragging his thumb across my lower lip. Are you nervous? We can say, we have a choice here. We can say, yes, I've never done this before. We can say a little, but it's not my first time. Or we can say, no, I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna say, I know what I'm doing. Nervous? No. No. I shake my head, my skin growing warm under his curious stare. June cocks his head in interest, taking my chin between his fingers and tilting my face towards his. What do you feel? Warm, excited, I can hardly wait for you to kiss me again. Oh my god, look at this! Look at this! Jesus Christ! What am I playing? This took a 180 turn from overthrowing the government to to doing stuff with June under the covers. That's all it takes for the invisible leash he keeps on himself to break, and the next time he kisses me, the fierceness of his hunger burns through my veins. There's a wildness to his movements, a ferocity that I've rarely seen in him, but I can't deny that I like. His hands tighten on my waist, his lips pulling back ever so slightly to trail over my jaw, my throat, my neck. The soft glow of the dim lights blankets us, taking us far from the worries of the world to a place where there's nothing but me and him. Skin to skin, we explore the depth of our connection, our emotions turning physical, heat blossoming within our bodies. The sounds of untamed pleasure and whispered words fill the room around us, and when stars burst behind my eyes, the world spins with them. Wow, just the way that's phrased very... Oh god. End of episode 7. I'm gonna save here. I'm just gonna save here. I'm overwriting the save. And alright, what a ride. Episode 8 update available. My brain, I don't know what to say. Hold on, I'm just gonna make another save over here. I do my saves like this. I do the beginning of the episode, and then I do another save is the end of the episode, so that I can go back between episodes if I need to. But oh wow, what an episode. It's getting hot in here. Or rather, it did get hot, and now it's fine. But we finally got the Shrek's scene. I was not expecting that to happen, not in this episode at least. But I guess it would be high time. It was episode 7, so we've done our due diligence, we've listened to the story, and now we finally got rewarded with some spicy scenes. But that was it. I'm gonna continue this with the next chapter. This chapter was pretty long, actually. Let me know if you prefer the longer videos or the shorter ones. I can do shorter as well. Well, see how this video performs actually, and see if the longer ones or the shorter ones is best. But let me know as well in the comments. I will be interested to hear from you. And that's it. Thanks for watching. And I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.